I think you can easily tell the content creators that are in it because of a passion. Others, to me, you can see they're in it for something to do. 120 hours of editing. I had a lot of creators reach out to us. Like you soon learn who was supportive.
Just don't use our name and be sneaky about it.
The British audience are not as important as the German one for whatever reason. With Fred Olsen and Ambassador and Morella, they're really going to be brave enough to recognise that they need newer ships. Your heavy breathing's worse than his barking.
First of all, I'd love to know who had the first idea.
Me. I just said to him, I think it was the first cruise we did, or the second one. I was like, by the second cruise we done, I said I was already looking at YouTube and seeing people doing tours and stuff, and I said to him, well, why don't we do that? Like, why can't we just pick up a camera and give this a go? And he's kind of like, oh, I don't know. And I thought, well, no, just get one, give it a go. And it just kind of went from there. It started off doing tours, didn't it? And then cabin tours, and then reviews, and then it snowballed into what we've got now, basically. But it was definitely me who suggested it to you. But then, with your background, having worked at sea as well, you found it quite natural to go into it anyway, didn't you?
Not the filming side, though.
No, but the knowledge side. Yeah. And I mean, I knew nothing at all. You was the one teaching me.
Still are.
You still are. And I teach you about cameras and stuff. So, we came to it both with our own strengths, and we grew from there. But no, I'll take credit. It was me.
And so you should. And it's amazing watching it as well. Like, from when you first started, I think one of the first videos I saw of you guys, I think Dan, you were doing the commentary. I think it was a Royal Caribbean. Maybe it was Anthem. It was a tour.
Yeah.
And obviously in those days, and as you went on, like, you did a little bit in front of camera, but very little. And then to the way you progress now, where every video is, you guys are in front of the screen. How come the change, or how did you decide to go in front? Was it the confidence, or?
It was confidence in the beginning. I mean, when we felt like that anthem when you're talking about, like, I remember when we first dipped our toes in it, and when we was back at when I was living at my parents', we recorded ourselves. Can't remember what ship it was, but we sat ourselves on a sofa and did like this at the camera, and we recorded it, and it was so awful. It was just awful, cringe, and we kept stopping and starting, and we had no confidence whatsoever. So we completely binned it and said to ourselves, never again, we're never going to be in front of the camera. But I think as just things developed, we kind of realised that we kind of wanted to be in front of the camera a little bit more, and maybe needed to be, to kind of connect with people. Especially doing podcasts, I couldn't do that faceless. That you have to put your faces in podcast videos like that. So it kind of came gradually with confidence and more knowledge and learning how to do things. But no, at the start we was very anti it.
It was gradual confidence, I think, and like if you look at where we were when we started and where we are now, I mean, we've done so many trials and errors. Like, we used to do video types that we no longer do, or we've changed the format, and that should be the same for all content creators. We always need to look at what's working for you and what isn't. And that's really what we've done over the last few years. Some things have paid off and other things haven't.
I think you have to you can't do this job without kind of assessing yourself and saying, well, how can I improve? What can I do better in the future? When we first started, I couldn't afford the equipment I have now, but it was always a desire to do it. So I think as long as you've got that desire and you want to improve and you want to get a little bit better equipment each time, or, new microphone or whatever, do it, because it will pay off, and it looks great in the long run. So it comes with time.
I always think that, you should always get that little bit better every single video and try new things. And of course, with you guys as well, your channel has so evolved. You've gone away from the daily vlog, like day 185. Did you sort of think, right, okay, now we want to do more documentaries, we want to do more of this? Did you want to sort of move it on from the ship tours and the cabin tours?
With regards to tours, we've spoke about it. We are going to do them for the occasional ship. But there's certain cruise ships, it's just not worth our time or energy. Like, we've spoke about this so many times, where if I booked a Carnival cruise in the Caribbean and I put out a tour for that ship, it wouldn't do very well at all, because I'd be going up against content creators from the US, and the algorithm just wouldn't pick it up. But focus on a line that appeals to British cruisers, and you get far more views and engagement. So you do kind of have to play YouTube and its algorithm as best you can. In going forward, predominantly, we're going to continue doing these new videos where we can jump on cruise news and cruise stories quickly, because we can put videos out much faster. We'll do reviews of ships we go on. Now and again, we'll do a tour and documentaries, hopefully 5-6 a year. That's what we would like to do. They're so time consuming.
Start to finish, how many hours do you reckon the QM2 documentary?
When the Queen Mary 2 documentary, editing alone, without factoring in script writing and filming, that was about 120 hours of editing. So there's a lot of effort and a lot of time and money that goes into it. You know, for example, that documentary we filmed, former captain Nick Bates. Well, he didn't come to us. We travelled up to Scotland to interview him in his home.
There's also archival footage that we need to pay for, that we want to include in documentaries. You know, that's a cost, and then just everything else that goes with it, paying for people's time. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, but we absolutely love telling a story in a different way, and I think that's always what we tried to do, like with the magazine and with the reviews podcast. It's always about telling a story, but how can I tell it in an interesting way, and I guess a cool way.
All we try and do at our channel, and especially the videos that we now release, they're the videos that we would want to go and watch. And I think that I think a lot of content creators are like that. You should create the content that you would search.
You hit the headlines, well, the cruise headlines. No, it wasn't really Six O'Clock News, but definitely in the cruise world, with obviously the banning you had with Carnival. Now, we're not going to discuss that, because that is a door that's now shut, and it's all been rescinded, etc. But I'd just like to chat a little bit about how, in a positive and negative way, did it affect you guys and the channel?
I'll start with negative, because I think, you know, getting banned isn't fun. You know, there's some people that were commenting online when it was happening to us, like, "Oh, this is fantastic for you. You must be loving this. You know, look at everyone looking at you." No, like, it was extremely stressful, because at the time we was banned from, well, Carnival Cruise Line, you know, P&O, Cunard, Prince, like, we was banned from Costa. So no, it wasn't fun, because I was thinking, shit, well, you know, what am I going to do? Like, that's, you know, we had a cruise booked last year on Princess towards the end of the year that was wiped out. So, you know, it was extremely...
And a Holland Bound.
And a Holland America cruise. But, it was extremely stressful. So, yeah, negatively, that you know, we had to deal with that, and the back and forth of them, of, you know, getting it, you know, unbanned. But positively, I think it showed me, I don't know if you will agree with me, but it showed me that, like, you know, don't just accept something. Like, if you truly believe that something's wrong, like, which we were in the right, fight for it, and we did, and we won, clearly. So you know, it proved to me that, like, don't let someone get away with something, basically.
No. And that situation didn't go the way they wanted it to, because it you know, I'm not going into details, but it was clearly a bit embarrassing. Like, you're being banned for 5 years, and then 2-3 months later they're rescinding it entirely. But positives, our subscriptions went up 14%. We got a lot more subscribers and views on YouTube.
We opened up a door to Americans who didn't know us.
And to me, it was the Streisand effect. Like, this is not what they wanted to do, but, you know, more for them. Like, they handled the situation badly. It should have never have happened, and we shouldn't have had to have gone through that sort of stress. I have to say that I feel like we had a lot of creators reach out to us. Like, you soon learn who was supportive in the community, and who wasn't,
Yeah.
and we won't forget. But yeah, when you hear other creators who have spoke about things since, and they used terms like, "Oh, there's two sides to every story. We don't know what P&O are saying."
Yeah.
I would just play that back in your head, like they banned us and then they unbanned us. We were the only ones sharing any information of what had happened.
I think recently, in the past couple of years, and definitely really recently, the past few months, there's like a Facebook group of all the vloggers sharing ideas. Really, really good. And I know I contact quite a lot, and it's interesting now. We seem to have about sort of 30 or 40, and you'll know it through the magazine, who are really working together. And then you do seem to have a few that are maybe of quite well established who don't really seem to, well, some of them don't want to speak to me, and I know they don't want to speak to you, but which is absolutely fine. But I just find it's lovely to see that actually now we've got a new breed of people that are sharing ideas, and it's going to be better for the viewers who are watching this right now.
Yeah. Oh no, I think it's great, that Facebook group you're talking about, because it's great to see, you know, people helping each other with questions on specifically about YouTube, because when we started, I had no clue really about YouTube. You know, everything we did, it was self-taught and you know, Googling ourselves. So, you know, having that little community you're talking about is great for people to go, oh, how does this work? How does the ABC test, whatever it's called, for thumbnails work, and blah blah blah. Like it's really good. But yeah, we had none of that, so I'm pleased to see that there is that, and shame on those that are bigger and want nothing to do with it, because why? There's no point.
This is I have to say, I've laughed quite a lot about this with you, Tom, but this idea that the cruise community is this welcoming, loving community, all sharing the same passion, it's a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, there are people within it which are bitter, they're selective, they exclude other creators, but then give time to others. And I don't like it. We've never liked it, and that's why we've always tried to distance ourselves. And then you get the label, oh, they're arrogant, or, you know, they don't want anything to do with us. No, we've always tried to help other creators when we can. Like, we've helped you, we help each other. That's how it should be. But yeah, I think that this group being set up, I think it is a good thing. And if there's creators out there that don't want to be part of it, then don't worry about it. Do your own thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, now you've got the magazine. You know, you've got a big brand in the cruise industry. Have you ever had people, other content creators, use your Sailaway name or the magazine to get things without you knowing? Then obviously maybe you found out subsequently they're using your name without permission.
Yeah, we've had influencers in the past that have promised a cruise line an article or a video, that they'll write something or create something in the name of Sailaway in return for a free cruise. And then, you know, it's come to pass that, you know, we've then been in contact with the cruise line about something else, and they go, oh yeah, so and so's coming on and they're writing something for you, and we're like, are they? So things like that really anger me, because I will always help someone. If someone comes to me and said, look, I've got a really good angle, I want to write this story, make this video about, I don't know, celebrity cruises, I'm going to approach them and say, you know, I'm doing a bath for you. I go, yeah, great, you know, I'll help you if that's it. Great.
But ask us. Ironically, they block us on pretty much everything now.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're being unfair. Like,
no.
We've said to quite a few content creators. I mean, Traveling Light went on Fred Olsen Borealis last year because we couldn't make it.
We tried to send you on something.
Tried to send you on something.
You know,
we will offer as much help and support to other creators as we can, but for goodness sake, just ask permission whether you can write something. Like, you shouldn't hear about it from a cruise line.
The Sailaway Magazine. I remember when you first suggested, you know, this was in the pipeline, and I must admit, first of all, I was like, Wow, magazine. I wasn't too sure, and obviously now it's a real success. Who came up with it first, and was there a lot of persuasion needed?
It was Jay.
It was me. I don't remember you being that opposed to it.
It wasn't. I did kind of think like, okay, print in my head, print's dead, but you know, when you told it to me, we did our research and we realised it isn't dead. It's just changed.
No, I mean, there was a lot of people, I think ourselves included, that wondered whether we might only last a few issues. I've heard of quite a few people think that we weren't going to see issue 2.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of work, a lot of stress. But yeah, I think we're about to go into the 17th issue, so
yeah,
we're happy with it, and it's consumer journalism. Like if you're a reader of World of Cruising or Cruise and Travel, I'm not going to or Porthole, I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to like what's in our magazine. Like I think they're written very different. I don't think ours reads like a brochure. You read it yourself, Tom. And I like to think that we focus on the issues that actually matter to cruisers.
Issues, but just topics that cruisers are interested as well. Whether it's not like you said, it's just not a glossy back-to-back advert. It's someone writing about a real experience that they've had, whether they enjoyed it or didn't.
Yeah, I don't want to read a magazine that's just back-to-back adverts with the odd article put in, which is clearly a gifted cruise because you can't find any negatives in it. That's just not us at all. Don't think that you can only be positive. Like we've never ever been that. Just be balanced. Like you don't have to. Some people think that we're not like this, but we never ever go on a ship expecting to hate it. Like we do go on with an open mind, but you do have to call things out as you see them. And I think you need, when you're doing videos, there needs to be a handful of positives and a handful of negatives. But don't ever think that you can't be balanced or give an honest point of view because you might not get a press trip or you might not be given attention by cruise lines. So you shouldn't think like that.
What percentage is now print and do people buy online? Is it still like 50-50 or is it
No, 68% are subscribed to print. But that usually shocks people because people think that it would actually be the other way. But
the feedback we get is people they just like holding something physical in their hand and taking on the cruise.
A lot of customers, every month, there's a few customers that are asking to change their subscription from digital to print. It's never the other way around.
Is there an unusual country or anywhere that somebody subscribes to you that you wouldn't have thought? Or
someone from Ukraine?
Yes, we have
got someone from
Ukraine.
Yeah, got someone. I can't remember who they are, but yes.
We have quite a lot in the Netherlands. Quite a few in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not the strangest, but the most one that sticks out in my head is Ukraine. Yeah.
Would you do Australia? Is that on the list of places you would like to go?
Yeah, I would love to.
It's very high up on the bucket list. I think it's not somewhere we would go to this year. We just couldn't be away for that amount of time. Like I wouldn't want to go to Australia or that far unless I was going for about 3 weeks. But being without Sailor for 3 weeks is quite hard for us. Oh, yes, we are talking about you. He just lifted his head up.
Hello, is it dinner?
Yeah, I would like to go. It's definitely in my top 5 places that I want to go to.
We really want to do Asia as well. Again,
so
far.
I think Asia's likely this year. But maybe Australia next year.
Yeah.
Well, if you need an Australian correspondent, I'll put my CV in. All right.
I'll bear you in mind. Yeah.
Just touching on that, saying you're not going to Australia. Obviously, I did a video recently. One of your really good 10-minute videos, which I'm thoroughly enjoying now, where you won't be traveling to America. Just quickly tell us the reason.
I see what's going on there every night on my TV. Why would I want to go there?
I don't feel particularly
it's just
safe.
I think anyone that watches what's going on and thinks that that's anyway normal, or thinks that that looks like a nice place to go, I'm a bit confused by it.
In the past, we've had a few experiences in America where, you know, we've had border control, border force, whatever they're called, where they've been quite abrupt and rude and questioning us. You know, just being in America in general, we've had some hostility towards just from Americans in general. So having it built up, I just don't feel particularly safe.
I don't want to give them my money, to be honest. And sorry, I'm going to correct that, because I said them. It's not Americans. It's the administration. I don't want to go to the US while that type of government is in charge. And it's not just America. There's other countries that we avoid going to, like United Arab Emirates, because of their stance on same-sex couples. I don't want to go to a place where I feel like I'm unwelcome. And I feel that the administration at the moment couldn't be more unwelcoming to tourists and foreign nationals.
I'm interested to see how or what effect it has on cruising, you know, the tourism in America, how that affects people going over there. Because, I mean, you know, we did a video recently where we, you know, spoke about tourism in America and cruising. And Holland America put out a statement a couple of weeks ago where they said they've seen this big spike in people booking European cruises. So they're really doubling down on that now. And that to me, and they kind of wrapped that up in like, oh, people want to see Europe. And I thought, no, that people aren't wanting to travel to America. You're wrapping that up in something else, I think, anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes.
It's going to be an interesting year, but that video that you referred to, I felt like it was important to do, not because I'm opposed to the current politics in the US, but I do believe that if we continue to see that sort of behaviour on the world stage, it will start to have a very detrimental effect on cruising.
Yeah.
Just moving on to the podcast. How many have you done of the Sailaway podcast now? Do you know?
33 episodes.
We've had some fascinating guests from swingers to that was an enlightening one, and then obviously you talk, you know, go to the other extreme. You're talking about river cruising. They're absolutely fascinating. Have you got any dream guests that you would love to have on?
I'd like to have Kate back again.
Yeah,
I'd like to have Captain Kate back. We flew out and interviewed her a couple of years ago for the magazine, but we never got her on the podcast. I'd love to sit down with her and have a chat about her new cruise line. What was it? 4 Seasons?
Yeah,
4 Seasons or whatever it is, and understand why she went from celebrity to there. Because I still think that's kind of a bit mysterious.
Yeah,
why she left. So I'd love to have her back. But I can't think of anyone else that I'd like to have.
I feel awful.
I would like to have Jane back again.
Yeah, Jane, I would like to do content.
Come fly with me, because I want come fly with me.
No, that's the bloody.
What's that for?
That's literally Little Britain. Them.
Come fly.
Piss off. But the airline does have the song "Come Fly with Me." So you're both right.
That's where I'm getting
the airline. She wasn't on that.
She was on Come Fly with Me. Sorry. Come fly, whatever it is, airline. I'd like to have her back because she has never done a cruise. I think it was only a ferry she'd done at that point. So I'd love to get her on a cruise and then see what she thought of it.
Jane McDonald's. I would love for her to tell me how a buffet works and how you open a set of curtains.
Have you ever tried to get somebody sort of demands that you just couldn't meet? Have you got close to getting anyone on?
Yeah, there was one person we tried to get who, you know, when we arrange to do podcasts with people, like we do have our own terms that we get people to sign up to for us to, you know, they give us the right to edit it and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And in our terms, we kind of say, like, you know, if you are late by a certain amount of time, or you just don't show up and don't tell us to the podcast recording, we ask that they're like part liable for the costs, because otherwise it's all on us. Which every
a lot,
single
doesn't it,
other guest
yeah?
has been fine with it. Yeah, every other guest has been fine with it, and it's not something outlandish we're asking. We're like, if you're going to be late, just let us know, or if you're not going to come, just let us know, and we'll still work around it or whatever. But this guest wanted nothing to do with that. They wanted it removed, didn't they?
They wanted it removed, but they also wanted paying up front £750 for an hour.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I just went
Right.
to their talent agency and I was just like, so hang on, let me get this right. They could wake up with a cold on the day, say they're too ill to come. Am I getting that £750 back? And they were like, no. I was like, well, not happening then. Yeah, we've reached out to people before and we've been told that they charge £10,000 an hour.
Yeah.
We
had some other influencers that what we reached out to, and they agreed to come on. And the night before we sent them the questions, they then pulled out and said that they weren't going to come on because they didn't want to answer anything negatively. Their brand was positive, and they thought it was outrageous that we would be asking them types of questions that were what they thought were the most negative.
A channel of positivity, I think, was the term. But
yeah,
it doesn't look like a channel of positivity when you scroll through their videos on their channel. I think negative clickbait. But yeah, they block us as well. So I don't really. I mean, that to me is. I to this day I don't really understand what happened. Like
we just asked them. I think there were some questions in there, like it was kind of like, "What's your least favorite ship?" and "What do you hate the most in the cruise industry?" Along with positive questions, but they were so.
They're just
could
different.
believe we'd ask it.
I mean, the problem is, and Tom, because we're friends. Like I don't have much of a filter. Like if I think something, it comes out my mouth, and that's gonna be a winner with some people, but not with others. And then you get, what you always moan about. Unfortunately, if I just think of something, or if I want to ask a question to someone, I'm really not thinking, oh yeah, they're not gonna answer it, because I'm not like that. You never sent questions before this. I said, ask what you want. I don't care.
British cruising, and obviously that's your bread and butter, isn't it, guys? I'd just like to know, like, how do you think of the future of British cruising? Just after a few sort of news stories recently, I know Marella we're going to have 2 new ships, and then that's gone to the German market. They're due to have 4 new ships.
I was disappointed. I was quite excited to see Marella get some new ships instead of relying on these old Royal Caribbeans that they've got. Because let's be honest, there's not an infinite amount of old Royal Caribbeans floating around that they can buy. If that goes for any cruise line, these cruise lines can't keep relying on old ships to buy, because they won't be around forever. At some point, a cruise line will have to bite the bullet and start building new ships. So it was disappointing. I don't understand why they did it.
Well, it says to me that the British audience are not as important as the German one for whatever reason. I'm guessing money, but I find it was annoying how they kind of released it when they didn't know whether they could actually fulfill the deal. Like telling UK cruisers, great news, in a few years' time you're going to have some new ships to play with, and then a few months later say, oh, sorry, we're giving them to the Germans now, but you can make do with these really old ships. Not saying there's anything wrong with them. No. I don't mind them at all, and I worked on one of them. But a couple of newer ships built specifically for the British market would have been better, in my opinion.
I would like to have seen that.
Yeah, as you said, there's nothing wrong with the older ships. We love I know you guys do, but it's the kind of statement of intent, isn't it, really? And it would have been lovely if they'd had literally a blank piece of paper. I'd love to have seen, because Marella is your proper British cruise line, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I know they don't go around the UK, but everyone flies out to them. So it would have been fantastic to see what they would have done. But it seems a bit of a trend, doesn't it? Because, like, for example, there's any insight, no P&O new ship. There's no announcement, but we're going to be talking 2030s, aren't we? How do you see the future of British cruising?
I see it growing. It's never going to stop British cruising.
No, but I think it risks becoming more boring and oversaturated with just the mega ships and like the same ports on itineraries. Like if you look at post-pandemic, just focus on itineraries first. Itineraries are not what they used to be. I remember before the pandemic, because I used to do them a lot. I'd do a Mediterranean cruise out of Southampton, and it would go as far as Livorno and Civitavecchia, and it would be a proper Western Med itinerary.
Yeah.
You can't find that now. Like if you're looking for 14 nights or under, you will not be able to get that far in the Med. Like you'll get to the south of France and not past it. And I think that's a shame because you're not getting the variety. The latest video we did was about Amsterdam. They're really beginning to tire of cruise ships and they're pushing them away. That's being pushed on to Rotterdam. How many bloody itineraries out of Southampton have got Rotterdam on it? Like it's screaming out to me.
Rotterdam, Bruges, yeah.
It's just getting bloody boring. Like, and it's a real shame, but the cruise lines are doing it because the fuel is next to nothing getting to Rotterdam and Bruges, so it's great because they can steam there at a slow speed, probably only on one engine, and then they can offer these really enticing fares. But I do think that itineraries are becoming very, very samey.
I'd like to know the percentage now from Southampton, which is Norway, because it just seems to be so much Norway, as you said. All Caribbean now, obviously, the ships are getting older each year that they're coming down to Southampton, and the itineraries are getting shorter. Obviously, there's no Mediterranean ones, so it's as you said. The thing that annoys me is that when you talk to people and when you see all the statistics, we're a country that loves cruising.
Everything about cruising now is just all around money. Like that's what annoys me, and that's why people think I'm banging on about it all the time, but it's so glaringly obvious. So when you say what's the future of British cruising going to look like, it's not going to be better. I really wish I could say different, but I feel like we've been shouting into the void now for the last 3 or 4 years, and cruise lines have continued to cut. They're continuing to make all these efficiency savings, and I just don't think cruise experience is what it used to be. I know it's negative, but I think it's realistic.
It is still here though, cruise, isn't it?
Yeah.
To play devil's advocate view, it's still here. We still get to cruise. A lot of cruise lines went bust in COVID,
and I'm still very grateful that I'm able to cruise. It's still the best way to travel. But I don't want it getting any worse, or cruise lines taking away any more inclusions or perks. And it's just getting silly. Like give it 10 years, they'll be removing main dining. They'll be making that chargeable.
I definitely think they'll do it again. I think what they'll wrap that up with is still get your 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the buffet, but you have to charge for the main. I just got this feeling.
And they'll do their usual. They'll wrap it up in variety, and you've got more choice. Forgetting to mention that they'll be squeezing more money out of you somehow. But
what they I think a lot of times rely on, especially like P&O, they rely on all-inclusive customers coming over to cruising. All they have is the buffet. So they've come over and then they go, they've got a restaurant, a buffet. So that they haven't sort of seen it as before. So that they love it. Do you know what I mean? And they do this so that they're really centering on the new customer, but they need to look after the older ones as well.
Certain types of cruisers being pushed out. That's why last year P&O decided that for select sailings on Aurora and Arcadia, they're going to start allowing families on board. And it's very, very infuriating because we've been a voice over the last few years calling out standing up for passengers that feel like they've been pushed out by P&O and other lines because they're no longer offering the traditional cruise experience with the same perks and benefits and inclusions that it used to. And so the fact that they're having to welcome families on tells me that they're not filling them. And the sort of passengers that would have been going on those ships are the types that we have spoken to. And, you know of that they would much rather go on those types of ships and have their nightly turn down service and their included room service rather than going on a mega ship like Arvia or Iona. So yeah, I'm not really. I wasn't too surprised, but I do think a lot of cruises are being pushed out by various lines.
But that's why you're seeing so many people go to Ambassador and Fred, and they're seeing like a huge uptick because people are lost. You know what it used to be. So there's these, cruises that are like, where do I go? And they're taking the benefits of Ambassador and Fred.
What do you see the future for those two? I know you've done quite a few videos. You've got videos soon coming out of a refit on Ambassador, haven't you?
I hope they expand, and I hope those. I really do enjoy Ambassador and Fred Olsen as cruise lines to go on. They are quite traditional still. So I do hope they go from strength to strength. Will they get new ships? I don't know. I hope they do.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that. I doubt it would be this year, but end of this year or beginning of next. I wouldn't be surprised if Ambassador said that they were launching a new ship. I don't know that.
They've just speculating.
Yeah, who knows?
They're doing well. Yeah, they're doing well.
But I think they're doing very, very well. And
same for Fred. They might.
They've accomplished a lot in a few short years, and Fred Olsen are doing well. Fred Olsen are a bit more money, but we've never ever done a Fred Olsen cruise and ever thought that we didn't get good value for money, or there's been a serious complaint. Like from our experience, the dining and service on Fred Olsen is always excellent. I find that they're some of the cleanest ships that you could possibly go on, and I think they have a lot of strength.
But the problem I think that these two cruise lines will face, again going back to what we were talking about earlier, is that they rely on buying older classes of ships secondhand, and again, when they buy these old classes of ships, they have to buy the spare parts that go with them. And again, they're not an infinite amount, these spare parts in these ships. They're not going to last forever. So again, there will come a point where these two cruise lines will have to do a new build because they cannot rely on these old ships. Unfortunately, rules change every day within the cruise industry when it comes to maritime law, doesn't it?
Well,
they
change a lot.
They change a lot, not every day. But all it takes is for them to make a dramatic change in the rules, and then all these old ships can't sail anymore.
Just that, but there's also other risks and challenges with older ships. I mean, a lot of older ships, they don't go anywhere near America because US Coast Guard is so bloody strict. Australia is not a very easy place for cruise lines to visit. There's a lot of strict regulations there. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about ships that are 30, 40 years old, they're really only one technical problem away from potentially being either uninvestable or being a ship that you're considering having to sell because you can't repair it. And I do wonder when Fred Olsen and Ambassador and Morella, they're really going to be brave enough to recognise that they need newer ships. That even if it's in their 20-year plan, there needs to be a point where they need to upgrade their fleet because you don't know. What if they make environmental regulations so much stricter over the next 10, 20 years to a point where these older ships could become illegal to operate, or they have to be removed from service by a certain date. So I would like it if those cruise lines could start considering a newer build.
When you do work with Fred and with Ambassador, is I've noticed as well that even if you're invited on, they don't mind you giving them feedback. They don't mind you negative. It's not one of those, invite you on, just be nice about it, forget about it. And to be fair, I think you guys started with Ambassador where you had a pretty much a disastrous trip on board. And ever since then, you've built the relationship with them. They listen to your feedback. And I think isn't that great to have cruise companies that are not, they listen to you.
They're run by adults. They don't throw their toys out the pram because we say that their carpet looks like COVID spores under a microscope, or they've got carpet that resembles 50 Shades of Turd or something like that. They just take what we say with a pinch of salt and recognise the positives that we're going on about in a video. But you get some cruise lines that listen to every negative, completely ignore all the positives, and then they feel like they're being victimised and they're issuing ban letters. So it's just very, very different attitudes. I find that the likes of Ambassador and Fred Olsen are a pleasure to deal with. They give us their time. They allow us to be creative. And that's another thing. Like, they allow us to be creative. They allow us to put the drone up and to film wherever we want. If it produces good content they're looking for. But I have to say, some of the larger cruise lines, when you try and be creative with them, even if it's just requesting to take a drone on board, oh my God, the ag that you have to go through. Anyone you think you're carrying a bomb, like it's so overzealous.
The MSC's had a few run-ins with influencers, haven't they, as well? Like they
There's been a few cruise lines
that do it,
and I just think, for goodness sake, like, recognise what content creators can actually do for you. Don't just see them as a threat or a negative. And
work with them.
We've done reviews of ships over the years where we've had a bad experience, but then somehow people have still watched the review and then wrote a comment, oh, I really enjoyed this video, I've just gone and booked a cruise. So us complaining about a lack of drawers in a cabin on a cruise ship they're of value to us, but to someone else it doesn't matter. It doesn't change their decision making at all.
Well, I'm a viewer as well. We're all viewers, aren't we? When you see some content creators, all they're doing is they've got an ad at the start and everything is amazing. Every video is amazing. It's not going to make me want to go there because I want the truth. So when I see someone that's giving good things and bad things, I can trust those good things because they will say if it's bad. So I think that's all part of it. What does 2026 look like for Sailaway?
It's busy, but busy in a good way and exciting for viewers and readers. We've got so many documentaries in the file.
Yeah, various things. This year we haven't booked them yet, but we've got quite a lot of cruises bookmarked. This is the year that we want to be doing the cruise lines that we haven't given attention to, like NCL, like Costa. God help me. No, not Margaritaville. I go to America.
But we're returning to some that we haven't been to for quite some time.
Yeah, we're joining Iona next Saturday.
Yes.
So that's our first P&O cruise since November 23.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what they're up to.
But we're going to go on with a completely open mind. I'm not going on there. I'm not going to even mention the word cut. I'm going to. I know that might be hard for some people to digest, but I'm going to go with an open mind.
Wishing success to Sailaway Magazine. Thank you very much, Dan and Joe, for joining us. Quickly at the end.
You've just distracted me.
Because you were wobbling the camera.
Right. Oh, yes, we are talking about you. Straight to customer. You need to be at. Sorry, we've got.
I'm so sorry. Bear with me.
Hey, look, Reese, it's all right.
Saving. Sailor, that is enough. Before our very eyes, your heavy breathing's worse than his barking. Shut that door. You've got a whistly now.
I'm quite happy for that to stay in.
Maybe at the end, I'll do the bloopers. Some of the bloopers at the end.
No, go away.